So we're back with the podcast in 2022, and today we're joined by Luke and Rob Brown. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Luke. Happy New Year to the Shaymen fans, and it's been a great Christmas and New Year for being a town fan.
Rob, how are you doing then?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Buzzing after the last two results, really good points, and looking forward to the next game.
We'll move on to that in a second. So if anyone in the chat has any opinions on the games, then please leave them below. Shaymen Stats was meant to be joining us. He might still join us yet, so we'll keep a faith for him to join us. But before we move any further, I'd just like to give a shout out to FanHub. Now, FanHub are an app that support the channel. They give us loads of shouts out. If you go on their page, you can log all your away days and everything. You can predict team lineups, and you can also find our content there. So it's a great way for you to get involved with, putting all your away games on there and even your home games too. Finally, before we move a bit more into the podcast, I'd like to go through a few of the subscriber counts, likes, etc. So obviously we started the channel, I believe, in April time last year. And compared to where we are now, it's gone right up, to be honest. The past month, it's been the most successful month yet for subscribers. We've had plus 41 subscribers who've got involved with the channel, which is brilliant. The interaction is going right up over Christmas. The amount of people getting involved with interaction is brilliant. That Grimsby preview is a prime example of that. We've already got people in the chat putting stuff. So, yeah, let's get on with the podcast then. So, you two, what were your thoughts on that Grimsby game then?
After you, Luke.
So I was a distant watcher on BT. Christmas family plans got in the way, unfortunately, but yeah, it was a brilliant performance. I think we're watching watching Twitter and the kind of other fans from other teams as well. Mm-hmm. Kind of finally waking up and realizing what the hype is around town this season. It was really strong defensive performance, particularly although Mayer and Bradbury put in a few kind of last ditch attempts a few times. I think up until the 92nd minute, looks solid. But I think it really laid out pretty plainly that's the template that Wild's working to, and if they keep playing like that, then there'll be more wins than losses, and not many. Hopefully fewer last minute heartbreaks like happened.
Yeah. Rob, what were your opinion on it then?
I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a good atmosphere. There's a good 380 of our fans there making lots of noise.
Yeah.
We had good fun. I think we scored against run of play, to be fair.
Yeah.
Cracking goal. I think it was their keeper's fault in terms of his inability to put it up for a corner. But Slew hit a brilliant shot there, and it's really good following up to score by our player. And as Luke said, there was some cracking last-ditch tackles and headers, and the team did really well. Very, very difficult place to go. Yeah. Delighted with the point. What do you think, Luke? You were there.
I personally enjoyed it. The atmosphere was buzzing. It has been for the past two games, going to Chesterfield and Grimsby. The build up to the game, it was huge. Grimsby, it's a good atmosphere there. They probably have the best atmosphere at home, I feel, in the league, alongside Wrexham, the most consistent. I went into the game quite confident. However, Grimsby, they were a very good side, I must say. They came out as strong. I think we were the better of the two sides in the first half an hour. However, they did start to dominate towards the end of the second half. And then as the second half progressed, they started to dominate more, and you're thinking, oh no, Grimsby are going to be the opening scorers. However, on the run of play, we did actually score through Kane Spence. It was an initial shot from Slew. Kane Spence got the follow-up. Some are saying the keeper should have done better. And we went 1-0 up. It's a bit of the run of play, to be honest. A lot of Grimsby fans were quite disappointed, I think, with that goal, because they played well. I think Grimsby fans have even stated that. And as the game went on, the pressure was gaining on us more, and Grimsby were starting to get more confident. The crowd started to get behind them. And you just knew they were coming. And to be honest, I was surprised we kept them out for that long until I think the 91st minute. But we were literally 30 seconds away from getting 3 points from that game and being joint top of the league. But a point away at Grimsby, like Pete Wild says, a point away from home, any point away from home, it's a good point. And Grimsby away, it was a good point. Before we move on to a bit more of your thoughts, we've got someone in the chat. I'm off to Eastleigh, RU, on Saturday. So Yes, I am off to Eastleigh, and he's also put, I went to Grimsby. Yeah. What was your opinion then? Anyone who's in the chat, what were your opinions on that Grimsby game? Let us know below. So yeah, Grimsby was a good game. If you had to pick a man of the match out of that, you two, who would you pick it to?
Do you, Rob?
Oh gosh, difficult one that. I thought generally that the whole team performed well, but defensively, there was some really good last ditch tackles. I mean, Spence got the ball for line, didn't he, in the second half? And I know in the first half he headed one right from underneath the crossbar. His goal as well, so I give it to him.
What would you do then, Luke?
Yeah, again, it's got to go to the whole back four really. Probably Mayer. Like again, there's one tackle in particular that was just the definition of the last ditch but perfect tackle. The ref had no decision to make in terms of giving a penalty, and that kept Grimsby out. So really, it's got to go to the defence really.
Mm-hmm. If I was to give one, you might be surprised by this. I give it Kieran Green. I think he's been solid in recent weeks. He's a crucial part of the team in that midfield. He's someone we really don't want to obviously lose in January. There's a bit more information on him in a bit. But yeah, I think if I was to give a man of the match, I think I'd give it Kieran Green. Moving a bit further back then to that Chesterfield game, obviously me and Rob talked about it in our preview to Grimsby. What were your opinions on that then, Luke?
So I was following the Chesterfield game from afar again, but being able to take a screen grab of us being literally top of the league, just potentially going into the new year, like that's kind of beyond our wildest dreams when the season started. And I know we did kind of a November or early December review of the season so far, and I think we're all pretty confident that the wheels weren't going to fall off. Like the foundations were there. Obviously, we had the Grimsby game at home called off on Boxing Day, so it wasn't a super intense Christmas period. Obviously, Senior was out on the Grimsby game, but in general, the team seemed fresh, the team injury free. So again, to go to a place like Chesterfield with the amount of fans, it's 6,000, something like that. 8,000 in total. Yeah, speaks absolute volumes to this squad that they can face that kind of noise away from home and come away with I know it's 2 points versus 6. It could have so easily been 6, but you've got to take the positives. Like you've got to really work hard to be annoyed and upset. Really, if you take a step back on the balance of things.
Do you think there's a problem though? Obviously, we've conceded late on in the last 2 games. Chesterfield, I wasn't too disappointed we've only taken a point there. However, Grimsby, I was a little disappointed that because we were quite, I think Wilder quite, what's the word? He were quite
upbeat.
Yeah, upbeat, yeah. So we started the game well against Grimsby, and as the game went on, naive, that's the word. He was a bit naive as the game went on, I think, to sit back for probably the whole of the second half until we scored and just try play on the counter. And we weren't really creating too much going forward. We were very nervous, I must say. I would tear my hair out at times in that Grimsby game, to be honest, more than the Chesterfield game. And I personally feel Grimsby in a false position, to be totally honest. But do you both think it's a problem that we're conceding late on in games?
I think if you do want to find a weakness, it's that the inability to get out quicker and hold the ball further up the pitch. Yeah. There was a lot again in the Chesterfield game as well. Just trying to absorb the pressure, and that's going to tell eventually. Like because we're scoring quite early, like it's a lot of mental and physical strain, I guess, to absorb that much pressure. Yeah. And it's like eventually the dam's going to fall, or the sponge is going to be full of water, and it's going to start dripping. And unfortunately, it's told both times. Yeah. So that seems like something that could be worked on. Holding the ball further up the field, but it's easier said than done against teams like Chesterfield and Grimsby.
We've done it in other games in a way, like 3-0 up against Torquay. I don't know if that was just concentration levels more than the team get behind the opposition. But do you think it's a problem then, Rob?
No, not for me, to be honest. It's a 90-minute game, and there's no reason why the last minute or the first minute should be more difficult. Grimsby are a really good team. They were throwing lots forward. The referee in the first half, you remember, added on 1 minute for the first half stoppage time, but there's a lengthy stoppage in the first half, and in the end, he added on 3 minutes, and it's like, where's that coming from? Compared with the first half, there were subs in the first half as well. really strange, arbitrary. So it's just a bit of bad luck, to be honest. The team didn't work any less hard in injury time than did the rest of the game. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. On another day, that cross comes in, it just balloons all the way off the back post.
Yes.
And the guy who scored's he's not known for his heading. He's just there at the right. He's a great header. But it wasn't as if Johnson was pulling off worldly saves every for the last 10 minutes. It was a hit and hope ball into the box that found the net. So it's I think it's not going to be a trend that's going to continue long term.
Jay Ben then, out for 4 months since that horrific injury. He's come back. Brilliant performance against Grimsby. And to be honest, at the start of the game, I was a little surprised and a bit shocked and a bit concerned that he'd started him. He sort of had to because Sini were injured. There were no information on that until later on. But Jay Ben, he comes back. He's young, remember, and he's straight back in the side. And I personally feel he had a very good game. Luke, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely excellent. Again, Senior's been outstanding all season, so to fit straight in as basically a replica of what Senior was given to the team was brilliant. Really hard tackles. That wasn't tinning out of any challenges, which you potentially do after such a long layoff. And Spence, him, Senior himself. Like it's the first time in my kind of living memory that we've had a crop of they've not all come straight from the grassroots. Obviously Spence was Middlesbrough and Scarborough and places like that, but to have a young crop is excellent.
What about you?
Yeah, I think he's a very exciting player. He had a great start to the season, and he came back as if he's never been away. And he's well up for it. He's young. He's up, up for the challenge, and very, very exciting. I think he's got a great future ahead of him. Hopefully with us.
Now, there was a bit of talk about Bradford City coming in for him. It wasn't a very reliable source, but what are your thoughts on that? Do you think the rumours could be true there?
He needs to find a big club rather than Bradford City, I think, if he's going to go somewhere.
Just a bus stop to Halifax at the end of the day.
Well, probably bus stop in Queensbury, really. You've got to look at the context of, although Bradford is a city, their football team isn't massively above us in the football pyramid.
Yeah.
And they are, struggling for many years. And I think, he's buzzing where he is at the moment. And you hear all these rumours all the time. Pete Wells will go to somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere else. And all these players are going somewhere else. It's just, when it happens, it happens. But the rest of the time, it's just, it's make-believe time, isn't it? Why would you want to go anywhere else?
Yeah, I think it's a symptom of the position we're in the league, and obviously the impression of Halifax of being, we can't hold on to players because we need all the money we can get. So Spence was linked with Morecambe, I want to say, during the week as well. Was that Kieran Green linked with Morecambe? So it's always going to be the case that easy basic reporting really to look at a club like us and see who's playing well and make those links. You'd like to think that Wild has got the backing from the board to withstand these approaches. I don't know off the top of my head if we've got these players on 2-year contracts or if they run out at the end of the year. But
Kieran Green's runs out at the end of the year because I think he signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah. So all that'll come into it as well. But you'd hope we'll get through this period without losing any of those core players.
Now I'm going to open this to the chat before we move on to transfers, etc. in a bit. If you couldn't lose one player, who would it be? Like you can't lose if there were one player you really didn't want to lose, who would it be? I'll ask you two in a second. But I think this season what's good is the youth and depth. Like recent years, we haven't really had much of a youth academy. I've never recalled. And you're thinking of players now, the youth setup at Halifax, it's improving. You're getting players coming through like Jay Ben, Kane Spence. You've got youngsters who were signing like Tyrell Warren. And when we're rejecting bids for Kieran Green, obviously from Morecambe, that's another good sign that we're a unite team. What are your thoughts on that then?
Yeah, there's a few different aspects. So I think the fact that Slew just gives that extra explosivity that no one else does. Like again, the goal that came on Monday came from him bringing the ball forward naturally, just effortlessly dragging us up the pitch, and then looking at his options, but then just hitting a ball hard as possible, hits the keeper, and the rebound goes in. So there's not many players in the team that can drag us forward like that. Waters, a month ago, you'd have said we can't live without his goals, but goals do seem to go from different ends of the different all over the pitch at the moment. And just to be extra greedy, I'd say Green just just knits it all together in the middle. So front to back, I think probably Green as the engine room is the one that if you took him out, we might not be able to so easily replace.
What about you, Rob?
I like Jay Ben. I think he's a real big prospect, and I think if we keep hold of him, he's going to go far. And the longer we keep hold of him, the more exciting it's going to be. So I would say, to lose a player, visibility at this point would be really difficult. So I would say for long term, keep him.
I think short term you've got to think about, in my opinion, I'm going to go for Kieran Green like Luke. I think he's that key engine room, like he's that box to box midfielder that what you need. He's got that defensive height. Realistically, there ain't much height in that midfield. There's Warburton, there's Kane Spence, and he's someone who's physical. He's not afraid to put a tackle in. And I think he's someone that's crucial. I think if we lost him, I think we'd be in a lot of trouble. And he's hard to replace as well, Kieran Green. He's a crucial player. And I think when I hear like Morecambe are coming in for him, I don't necessarily think he's going to go to Morecambe. Morecambe aren't exactly a rich club, and they could be in League 2 next season as well as us. So I don't think he'll be going there. But it might be something to do with his agent wanting to try tell him that he's up for offers. I think if a big club did come in for him, he might consider leaving the club. But I'm hoping Kieran Green, we need to keep him this season. I think there's a lot of players we need to keep. But Billy Waters, I think if he was out injured, I think he'd be a loss. I'm not saying that, but I think there's players that could come in. Obviously, there's still Jamie Allen out injured. He may come back. I don't know for sure, but we could possibly get Newby or Jack Vale back if we needed to from loans. And I think if there's one player that I think is going to be really hard to replace, and one player that we need, it's Kieran Green. And I feel he's improving match day after match day. We've got a shout out in the chat who's wanting to shout out people to Halifax supporters. Shout out Steve Baines and Rick Lees, big Shaymen supporters. That's your shout out. We've also got one. We've got. I think this is an Eastleigh fan in the chat. I think their nickname's Spitfires, I believe.
That's it. Yeah.
And he's put up the Spitfires. If you're still there, let us know what your thoughts are on Saturday. We've also got one. I bet we'll move on to a bit more on Grimsby. Eastleigh in a bit. I bet Halifax win 3-1 against Eastleigh. That is my prediction. What do you think? Well, we'll let you know in a bit. There's also been transfer news. This was quite a while back now. There were transfer news on Tom Bradbury leaving the club in January. Do you think he will?
Not a chance.
No.
I don't think any of our players will go anywhere because I think they've got a chance of success. The team's going really well. Yeah. Why would they go somewhere else? Even to go to a team in the league above, be mid-table or near the bottom of the table. Mm-hmm. What do you get from that? There's a chance of real success this season. We've got a great team, great manager, and I'm sure our players will stay.
I think the only way players could be leaving Halifax at the minute is if a big League One side or Bradford City came in from obviously a big club with a lot of history. I don't think anyone in our league will be looking for players. That would really annoy me if Stockport come and splash the cash out, or even Wrexham, like they're meant to be making some big moves in January. Now, that's something I wanted to move on to a bit. There's a lot of clubs they're going to be spending in January. We're second in the league at the minute. I believe we probably were up there with Chesterfield and Bournemouth in quality, but this second half of the season, there's going to be injuries that are going to kick in. Do you think we're going to compete, and do you think we'll still be up where we are at the end of the season?
Yeah, probably say this every season, but yeah, I think so. I think we've got more chance than ever before this year. It seems like there's more of an identity and a plan than ever before. And although, as we say, if we lose a key player at a key time, that can make a difference. It'd be interesting to see if Wilder's going to replace Vale and Newby, who both added off the bench, admittedly, but they both added vital goals and energy at the right times. So I think we do need a bit more backup in that respect. But as you say, Jamie Allen coming back, Matty Stenson, we haven't seen him play for 18 months or more. So there is that new blood coming in. Absolutely, there's nothing to say, nothing that makes you think that the wheels are going to fall off. One of the most pleasing aspects of this season has been anytime there has been a loss or a shock or a bad result, like the Kidderminster game, come straight back with a win or a good performance, and that in many ways that's more important than winning 3 games 3-0 and then going on a losing run. It's that consistency and that plan and that identity, and Wild and the players have got to take great credit for that.
Yeah, Rob, what's your opinion then?
Well, I think we all started off level, didn't we, back in August? And all these big teams haven't done as well as us. So, we've now got a cushion against lots of those teams. They've got to catch us. Why would we do any worse? We beat Stockport easy at home. We'll beat Stockport easy away, I'm sure. We beat Southend easy at home. We'll beat Southend easy away, won't we?
I hope that don't come back to bite you.
Yeah, it won't. And what if they do? They'll still be 20 points behind us, won't they? It's one of those things. We've had a really good first half of the season. It's the halfway point this weekend, I believe, and I don't see a reason at all why we don't do as well second half.
No, we've played and taken points off most of the top teams around us, and again that speaks volumes as well. It's quite easy sometimes for teams to be flat track bullies and struggle against the top teams and pick off the weaker teams. But some of those headline home results, the Wrexham result was an anomaly based on how well we played, and again getting pipped at the last minute. Obviously, the game does last until the final whistle, but great performance, not being outclassed or outshone by any of these big teams means that there is nothing to fear at all.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. When I look at the top 7 at the minute, there's only one side we haven't actually been able to defeat. Obviously lose to, and that was Wrexham, and they're 3rd. And like you just said, I don't personally feel we deserve to lose. The only thing I must say though is we've played a few more games than obviously Chesterfield. Bowen Wood, I think they're going under the radar a little bit now, but they've got 2 games in hand on us, 3 games in hand on Wrexham, and they're currently only 2 points behind us, so they could be top of the league if they win their games in hand. You've got Notts County also closing in on us. If they win their game in hand, they'll be level on points with us. There's a lot of sides starting to come into the mixture now, and even Stockport, obviously they had that disappointing result to Torquay. But they're still under Dave Shannon. They've been a bit of a different team, and there's a lot of sides meant to be spending a lot of money in January. Solihull Moors started strong, they're 9th in the table at the minute, but it's extremely tight. Yeah. Grimsby have games in hand, but currently sit 10th in the league. When I think of Grimsby and when we went away, they were a quality side. I think the only side I personally feel that are better than Grimsby, and that's Chesterfield that I've seen so far this season. And this is what I mean. It's so tight. It could take us 4 games and we could be probably 11th in the league. That's how tight it could be. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen. We'll move on to the chat a bit then now. We've got one. Obviously, going back to our question on if we couldn't lose one player, who would it be? Jack Senior. I don't think we can afford to lose him. I think he's a crucial player. So far this season, he's improved massively. Although he's quite a good replacement, I feel. I think he's quite not easy, but I think he's a player that you can replace. Unlike Kieran Green, like I said earlier, J. Ben came in and did a job, probably did just as good a job as what Jack Senior would have done in them circumstances. What are your thoughts on that, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact you can interchange Senior and Ben, and it's no shame to even to say they could be replaced because there's great players in their own right. But I think we're quite blessed in that right back position. But Jack Senior again, and we're talking about start of the season in August when we're worried about replacing Jeff King, and so we've got 2 amazing right backs. So it's funny how these things work out.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts then, Rob?
Looking forward to his first goal, I think, because he's Halifax lad. I think
he's going to get one, doesn't he? And then
absolutely, he keeps having a go, and that'd be great when he gets his first goal. So exciting player, and
I think he is. Yeah, I must say, he's quite young as well, isn't he, Jack Senior? He came through obviously the Huddersfield Academy, then went to Luton. He's now at Halifax. He's been key so far this season, I think, for Halifax. Although I think J. Ben could replace him, like I said, even Tyrone Warren if he wanted to switch sides with him. So I don't think he's a player that I think if we had to lose somebody, I wouldn't consider not losing him. But I think if someone came in for Jack Senior, I'd be disappointed. I'd be quite shocked that he'd leave, but I wouldn't be like Kieran Green if he left, I must say, because I think he's quite reasonably easy to replace. We've got another one now. Where is Jamie Allen? Is he injured? He's later put on. I believe he's living it up in Montserrat, to be totally honest. He seems to be spending a lot of time there with the international squad. They're trying to qualify for the World Cup. I don't think they will do it, but you never know. He's got injured. I'm hoping he's going to come back for the second half of the season, because he could be someone that comes back. Him and Stenson could come into the side and change the team around a little bit in the second half of the season. Luke, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Jamie Allen has quite a lot to prove, to be honest. I mean, he's obviously been with the club longer than most players, and we saw moments of class from him. I remember a couple of kind of breakaway goals where he's gone one-on-one and he's scored, which is great. But he could never really nail down that consistency. So he almost feels like a bit of a hangover from last season. Maybe it was either 2 seasons ago, where we were kind of desperate for players, and he added that pace and a little bit of electric, but he doesn't feel like he's missed at the moment. But it'd be good to see him back and see if he can prove what he can do in the run-in.
He had a slight period last year where he went on a bit of a scoring run. He's a good player to bring on from the bench when the defender's legs are starting to get tired, and he can get you a goal. Like the amount of points he actually got us last season, he scored some crucial goals. Aldershot at home, he scored in the last minute. We didn't deserve to win that game, but we did because of him. We got a last-minute equaliser against Notts County last season, thanks to him. I think, was it Woking at home last season, and he scored in the last minute. He scores a lot of crucial goals, Jamie Allen. He's someone that we could bring back, and I think he's a bit of a hidden talent in that dressing room at Halifax, because even the previous season before that, I thought he was a crucial player. What's your opinion of him?
Yeah, on his day, he's great. Don't forget he scored at Eastleigh Town this season as well.
Oh, I didn't actually remember that. I didn't look into it.
Yeah, he scored at Eastleigh Town. So on his day, he's great, but you can only play 11 players, can't you? No matter how good they are. And, if he's fit and up for it, great. I'm sure everybody will play the part.
Yeah. I think we've got another one that's just come in. Look, I'm a Grimsby Town fan. Let's say we should have had 2 penalty, 2 goal line clearances, but the Grimsby end erupted. Like 50 of us jumped on the pitch. Obviously, I think Luke probably has more information on this because he watched it on the telly, so they showed all the angles. Do you think Grimsby should have had 2 penalties?
I think in the first half in particular, every decision the ref made after a certain point, the Grimsby fans were on his back, and it's one of those where I think, if some of those decisions were against Town, you'd think, oh wait a minute, you'd be felt hard done by. I think the biggest contentious decision was obviously just before the Town goal. It looked like there was a tugging and pulling in the box, and then that broke out, and the counter attack from Slew was what led to Spencer's goal. But there's every single time a corner came up, Bradbury and I forget the Grimsby there's just pushing and there's pushing and shoving all over the place. So I don't think there was anything clear cut. But if there's some of the decisions against Town, would be shouting for them just as hard, I'm sure.
I think they made it look worse by having it in slow motion. What's your opinion on it then?
Yeah, I mean, 50 fans on the pitch, that's not great, is it? But I can see if you're mid-table, every point counts. And, I'm sure they're delighted to get a point against us. It's we're a big team. They've done well. And, I'm sure at some point they might scrape into the top 7 if they keep working hard. So, yeah. Yeah. It
sounds like it's been a weird season for Grimsby. Obviously, started off like a house on fire, and then a really bad run of form. I think they'd lost 5 of 6, and then COVID and everything like that. So it probably felt like a bit of a turning point for them, I guess, to get an equaliser against a top team like Halifax. So looking at you going through the table before, Luke, like I'd say the top 12 anywhere down to Eastleigh, to be honest, who we've got on Saturday, look like they could put a run together, and it's just about us just. If this is a marathon, we're pace setting, and we just hope we've still got the energy towards the end.
Talking on Eastleigh then, now moving a bit back onto Jay Ben and Jack Senior, would you keep Jay Ben in the side, or do you reckon Jack Senior should come back in?
Tough decision. It depends on the fitness of Senior. I think it depends. Illness, wasn't it? Was the description? Was it? If it's just I don't think. I think you've got to keep him in. I think you've got to keep Senior in if it was just a 24-hour bug or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, bring Ben on second half if needs be.
What's your opinion then?
Yeah, we've got plenty of subs available this day and age, haven't we, on the bench? So whichever one you play, you've always got the opportunity to put the other one on the bench. So, but yeah, Ben did really well against Grimsby. So it would be unfortunate if he was dropped, but I'm sure the manager knows best in those circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's come back, I believe. That's how we played when we was top of the league. Score prediction for Tuesday. I'll leave that for now. I'll let these two give a score prediction, but I'm hoping to get a Grimsby fan on to do a prediction, so to do a bit of a preview. So I'll let these two give a prediction. So Luke, what's your prediction for Tuesday?
For the Grimsby next week, thinking way ahead there. Yeah, so we'll see what happens on Saturday first, but I think it'll be a really, really good battle. Like there was some physical one-on-ones going on Monday, so I think both sides will relish the chance to go at each other again. Grimsby will probably feel they've got the momentum and the upper hand based on the passive, this general gameplay, the way the game went, and then the last minute goal. But I think the town fan, I think the Shelby Rocket next Tuesday for that game. So probably a draw, to be honest. Let's be fair.
Yeah, okay, we'll do a draw then. What's your score prediction?
Well, last time Grimsby came to the Share, they got promoted that season.
Yeah,
I seem to remember.
They bought all the inflatables, didn't they? And they bought quite a few things,
They took the inflatables home, and we took 3 points home. We won 4-2. Grimsby never do well, particularly when they come to our place. So, I'll go for 4-2 again. Why not?
It's when they stormed through Halifax, I believe, that game, and lowered the capacity. But I'll move a bit more onto that in the next episode. Eastleigh now, then the people we're playing Saturday. Their main danger man, Tyrone Barrett. He was quality last season. For him, I believe he scored against us in a playoff rival battle. However, this season he's only scored 5 goals. But there's the likes of Harry Pritchard, Ben House. They've got quite a lot of decent players, and I think what you've got to remember is Eastleigh were near the bottom of the league at the start of the season, so they've done remarkably well to climb the way all the way up to 12th where they are now. Also, I think on the form table, something like 4th in the league in the last 10 games or something like that. Anyway, Eastleigh, they're going to be a good side. They're no pushovers, I must say. And I don't think we particularly have a good record against Eastleigh. So, Luke, what's your opinion on the game?
Yeah, it seems like we're playing them at not the best time. Looking at the recent form, wins against Notts County, Aldershot, Torquay, the local derby. I get the South Coast teams, beating Weymouth and Torquay over the Christmas period. So we're not playing at the best time. Eastleigh, up until the last 2 years, feel like they've been in and around the playoffs all the time. I know we've had a couple of FA Cup backwards and forward games with them as well. So there's definitely a bit of history there with them in National League over the last 4 or 5 years. But I really think if we play the way that Wild knows that they can play, that we should. I wouldn't say comfortable, but I think a 2-0 win for Town on Saturday.
Well, what about you?
Yeah, I think, like Luke, I think they're a difficult team and they've given us a bit of a challenge over the previous seasons. But I think we'll have enough for them to see them off. If you offer me a 3-0 win now, I'll take it. But I think in reality, we'll probably win 2-0.
I'm just going to show you this statistic here. Eastleigh away from home have only won 2 games this season away from home, losing 5 and drawing 1. That's one positive going into the game, which sort of turns the tide a little bit. Eastleigh are 19th on the away form table. That's another positive. But personally, I think it's going to be an extremely tight game, to be honest. Eastleigh, they're not going to be pushovers at all. I think I'm going to go for. I think it'll be low scoring again, which it has been for the past couple of games now. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Halifax win. We've got someone who's coming. Which is your favourite Halifax game this season? I'll ask you. Rob, which is your favourite Halifax game this season? I think it's quite obvious, but you go to every single game, so you may surprise us with it.
Well, Stockport was brilliant at home, wasn't it? Southend was as well. But I probably think I'll go for Stockport because, that was a great atmosphere and quite an easy victory in the end. And, quite satisfying that game.
I think you're forgetting a Tuesday night game, Rob. We were 2-0 down with 10 men, and
no, not forgetting that. Not forgetting that.
Amnesia.
No,
although that was only a good game until the last 10 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, if you remember Stockport, we just demolished them, didn't we? And they came up for it. They brought a big crowd, good atmosphere, and we just did a great job that day. You're right about Notts County. It was a good last 10 minutes, but up until 10 minutes to go, it wasn't a great game, was it?
No, it wasn't a great game, but I must say it did turn into a great game. A great moment, I'd say, especially when you bring a Huddersfield Town fan to the Shea for the first time. And ever since, he's wanted to come back to every single game. But, Luke, what's your favourite game on this season?
It's been a weird season, I guess, for memorable games. And as Rob says there, there's been several games that the control that Town have shown against Southend and Stockport and games like that has been something to behold, really, from a Town point of view, where usually you're on the edge of your seat right to the last minute, but comfortable against big teams was great. Notts County, of course, and I think Maidenhead is probably the one that's going to live longest in the memory, just for how mental a game that was. The 7-4.
Just a 7-4.
Pounds per goal was through the roof, that ratio. So I think when we did an FA Cup preview, and we're like, we've never had a good FA Cup memory really in the last 10, 20 years, at least. Putting aside the second round game to one side, at least the first round game was one for the memory bank.
I've got quite a few, to be honest. I think the moment it has to be Notts County, to be honest, coming from 2-0 down. The atmosphere was just brilliant that game. Stockport, a brilliant team performance, a professional performance. You even have to think about the games where we're playing sides near the bottom of the league. We're hardly dropping points. The only side I think we've dropped points against is Maidenhead and Barnet at the bottom of the league. So that's good that we're not dropping points, dropping silly points at Dover, Kings Lane, for example. But atmosphere-wise, the past 3 games have been brilliant. I think the Chesterfield game for atmosphere and how the team played were an entertaining game. That Kidderminster game, I don't know if the game in itself was a good game, but the atmosphere before kick-off was amazing, and something that I think will stay in the memory for me for a very, very long time, because it was probably the first time that I've really seen Halifax fans be that pumped up for a game away from home. Obviously, you've had the playoff games like Chorley, you've had Wembley, but that was more of a day out, I feel. I think for atmosphere away from home, that Kidderminster game was something else until, obviously, it all came crashing down after basically 2 minutes. So, I'll open that up to the chat if anyone wants to give their favourite game so far this season. Like I was saying, I don't think Eastleigh will be pushovers on Saturday. Luckily for me, I'm actually dining with the chairman on Saturday with one of them deals. Rob, have you done that before?
Yeah, it's brilliant value. You get some good seats on the halfway line. It's nice to go to presentations afterwards and, see the man of the match and that sort of stuff. And good value, and food's excellent there as well. So, really good.
I haven't been for a number of years to do that. I think it obviously to do with COVID, and this is the first time we've done it so far this season. I think the last time, what game was it now? We did it quite a lot when Halifax were in the National League North. I remember meeting Matty Coslow and getting my shirt signed by all the players. That were a great memory for me. It's always good dining when you go, and especially if the players come out afterwards. I particularly like that. So it's been a great season so far, I must say. I think that more wraps up the podcast, to be honest. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. You can find Luke on Twitter. He's got his own account. I think he's tagged it down there. Rob, you can find him on Twitter with the Supporters Club. You can find me, the Supporters Club, on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter with Shaymen Talk, the YouTube channel. Once again, I'd like to thank every single one of you for subscribing. We've just reached 220 subscribers, which is mental. It's growing more or less every single day. Every day I check on my phone, and next 1 minute we're on 215, then we're on 220. It's going extremely quick, and I think it's just going to keep rising. On Instagram, Twitter, it's going extremely well. We're taking a lot away from home in general with the club, and the club are performing as well. So it couldn't really go any better at the minute for Halifax. I'm looking forward to Saturday, and thank you for coming on once again. Up the Shaymen.
Up the Shaymen.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
See ya.